I hear you saying often that you're not turned on to politics. Well, let me bring to bear the lessons of history. If you're not turned on to politics, the lesson of history is that politics will turn on you. So, let's start the countdown. Those who are excessively greedy and excessively powerful must give up their privileges. They must give up some of their power. Big business has been colliding with American democracy. American democracy has been losing. We can have a democratic society, or we can have the concentration of great wealth in the hands of the few. We cannot have both. Now imagine what can happen if political campaigns began paying attention to controlling what we own. We'd have our own radio station, our own television station, our own cable channels. It is time for a change. The system is not working. Now, look at your late evening news, if you can bear it. Look at it. It's 30 minutes, 9 minutes of ads, 3 minutes of street crime right at the beginning, never corporate crime, very superficially covered, 1 minute of impromptu chit-chat between the anchors, 4 minutes of weather, 4 minutes of sports, and that's what happened in your town tonight? And we own the public airways. It's a disgrace. To have our own television station, radio station, and cable channels. What we own, the public airways, has been surrendered to the most myopic and avaricious corporation. It is time for a change. The system is not working. This is a message of hope.
In order to really answer this question collectively, with any kind of articulation, we have to first understand what a democracy is. The different democracies that exist, relatively all of them, are representative, parliamentary, liberal, direct, participatory, socialist, anarchist, Iroquois, partition, consensus, supranational, cosmopolitan, and then non-governmental. And America tends to fall into representative and liberal democracy, and then considering who votes, why they don't vote, how the votes are counted, if some people should vote, how money influences the process, and finally, the media. Voting, the media, they also tend to fall into the world of dualism and linear thinking. Part of the goal of the show is to get to the truth of things, not fall into these ways of looking at the world as one way or the other. And so I hope that we can reach that goal in this recording together, where we just have a better grasp of voting and democracy and how they work together.
I know what a democracy is supposed to be. The definition of democracy is a political system of competition for power. The means for the people to choose their leaders and to hold their leaders accountable for their policies and their conduct in office.
I love the idea of democracy, but we run a democratic republic system. In other words, we democratically pick the people who are going to govern.
I would say I would define American democracy as broken. I think that it's broken in the sense that it's not representative of the people. I think it's broken in the sense that we have a two-party system that is completely corporate controlled, and the idea of having a real third-party candidate actually be on the debates would be a good start.
The thing that that always surprises me is not necessarily whether or not we're defining it democracy correctly, but that there is so much fraud in the election system that we have dead people voting. And so I look at something like that and I say, well, that's where we can make a difference right now, because, the two-party system really is what everything's still based on, whether that's good or not. But maybe there are different ways we can affect the way government works. There are smaller things that we can do as individuals to try to make the system better. The third-party candidates, that's what they're trying to do, to get the word out. Of course, it's already past that time for right now, but it's going to come back around, and that's where we'll have another chance, and we'll just keep trying.
Democracy is a system by which people have some amount of control over the processes and policies in government that affect their lives, so that they have some kind of representation. Canada falls into representative and parliamentary, maybe with a little bit of consensus thrown in there. But this is my say on Canada's democracy based on my American condition, really. And I try to educate myself and have objective viewpoints so that I'm not looking at the world subjectively. But Celene, tell us what you think democracy really is, and then specifically with your country.
I think my concept of democracy is that every person has a vote and every vote counts. The democracy of the United States in principle is that you guys each vote directly for your president. In Canada, because it is a representative democracy, and it is a constitutional monarchy, so don't forget that portion of our parliamentary system is based on the parliamentary system of England. Because our system is different, we have more parties than you do. We have the Conservative Party, which has currently got a minority government in power, which is actually to the advantage of the Canadian people. We have the Liberal Party, and then we also have NDP, which is the New Democratic Party. And the NDP is the party that's responsible for implementing a universal health care in Canada. It started off in Saskatchewan and kind of blossomed from there through Tommy Douglas, who was really a freedom fighter. If you ever have a chance to see the documentary Prairie Giant, the Tommy Douglas story, it's really amazing, because I think Tommy Douglas is much the core of what every politician should be. He started off as a minister.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are the merciful. Blessed are they who are persecuted. But that isn't the world that we live in, is it? No. No, in this world, it's blessed are the strong. Blessed are the educated. Blessed are the powerful. The poor and the meek aren't blessed at all. And people who call themselves good Christians stand by and tolerate it. People who are not suffering in any way have the audacity to call the poor lazy and the meek cowardly, as if it weren't their responsibility to help. It is all of our responsibilities to help. Too many of us utter that same prayer each night. Utter that same prayer. God bless me and my wife, my son John and his wife, us four, no more. Amen. We have to start putting into practice the idea that we ought to bear each other's burdens, the idea which St. Paul put forth when he said, ye that are strong ought to help bear the burdens of the weak. We have to do more.
We saw how people were being mistreated by the banking system and by government officials who were corrupt.
Goddamn government's out of control.
What's your language, Charlie?
We got bastards in charge of us these days, Tommy.
Charlie.
Well, there's no other word for it, is there? I'm working for the new Farmer Labor Party we started up, right?
Yes, Charlie.
What do you say to being our candidate?
Well, I'll have to get the approval from the deacons.